Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to today's deep dive. If you've got this playing in your headphones right now, it means you've got a baseline desire to communicate better.
Yeah, that's exactly why we're here today.
And today we're going to look at exactly how you can do that. We have an incredibly diverse stack of sources to go through. I mean, we are pulling from psycholinguistic research papers, YouTube language gurus.
Podcast scripting manuals.
Right. And even some highly opinionated Reddit threads. Our mission today is to uncover the mechanics of spoken fluency.
Whether you are actively learning a new language or, trying to become a better public speaker.
Or if you're just genuinely fascinated by how the human brain processes audio, we are going to explore the magic of a technique called shadowing.
And while those sources might sound like they are all over the place, the common thread is actually really tight. It all boils down to the hard science of speech production and the surprising power of micro-habits.
Micro-habits are key. But I have to ask you, the listener, a question. Have you ever studied a subject, like a foreign language, or maybe a massive presentation for work, for hours and hours?
Memorizing every single grammar rule.
Exactly. You do all that prep, only to completely freeze when it's time to actually open your mouth and speak. Your brain just hits a brick wall.
It really is the worst feeling.
It is. Well, today, we're going to fix that.
It's a very universal problem, actually, and it usually stems from getting caught in what our sources call the grammar trap.
The grammar trap. We see this highlighted perfectly in our source from the English Easy Practice YouTube channel. They talk a lot about the endless frustration of studying grammar rules every day.
Doing all the workbooks.
Right, doing the quizzes, but still being completely unable to hold a normal, fluid conversation at a coffee shop.
Because the effort is being applied to the wrong metric.
Okay.
What is compelling about that source is how it introduces the 80-20 rule.
Oh, I love this part.
It suggests that 20% of your targeted effort gives you 80% of your results. When it comes to language, learning just the 1,000 most common words allows you to understand 80% of normal conversations.
Which completely flips the traditional education model on its head. We spend years memorizing obscure vocabulary words when we really just need to master those core functional words.
Exactly. You do not need the entire dictionary loaded into your head to communicate effectively. But that leads to the next hurdle.
How do we actually practice those core words so they come out naturally?
Right. And the YouTube channel English Unleashed introduces a concept for this called snack learning.
Snack learning, it's such an accessible way to frame it.
It lowers the barrier to entry entirely. The idea is that 5 minutes of daily practice is vastly superior to a massive 3-hour study binge on a Sunday. They use a great toothbrushing analogy.
Let me guess, you don't brush your teeth for 2 hours once a month.
Exactly. You do it for 2 minutes every single day. Building fluency works the exact same way. Small bites of practice build the neural pathways.
And the host of English Unleashed shared this fantastic real-world anecdote about a student who was cripplingly shy. He was terrified to speak out loud. So he started incredibly small.
Just talking to himself.
Yes, for 2 minutes every morning in his kitchen. He would literally just narrate his actions, saying things out loud like, I am making coffee, or I am getting my keys.
That was his daily snack.
And within 6 months of just doing that simple habit, he built up enough confidence to join a public speaking club. Though I always wonder what his roommates thought of him at first.
They probably thought he was losing it. But neurologically, he was doing the right thing. He lowered the stakes to 0. So how do we practice this daily if we don't just want to talk to our coffee makers?
Which brings us to the absolute core of our deep dive today, the shadowing technique. If you haven't heard of it, shadowing is essentially listening to an audio track and speaking along with it out loud, just slightly delayed.
Like you are an echo of the speaker.
Exactly. It was popularized by Dr. Alexander Argals. He highly recommends doing this while walking outdoors briskly.
To get the cardiovascular system engaged.
Yes.
But we should clarify, shadowing isn't just a modern YouTube trend.
Yeah.
If we look at our Wikipedia source, the technique was created as a formal scientific research method in the late 1950s.
By the Leningrad Group, right? Led by Lyudmila Chistovich.
That's right. They found that the physical act of shadowing is deeply tied to the left hemisphere of the brain. That's the area that handles linguistic skills and syntax.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because you might be thinking, isn't this just the listen and repeat method from old cassette tapes?
Yeah.
No. Compare listen and repeat to shadowing using a dance analogy.
Listen and repeat is slow and disjointed.
It's like practicing isolated dance steps all by yourself in a mirror. You stop, you think, you step. It's clunky. But shadowing is like dancing with a partner in full rhythm.
You are lip-syncing to the musicality and pace of the language in real time.
Right.
And this connects directly to linguist Meryl Swain's output hypothesis.
Okay, let's break down the output hypothesis. What does that actually mean for the listener?
It argues that we only truly improve our language skills when we are pushed to actively produce language, not just consume it. Shadowing forces you into the production seat. It taps into a cognitive system called the phonological loop.
Explain the phonological loop like I'm 5.
Think of it as your brain's internal audio scratch pad. It's that little voice in your head that repeats a phone number over and over until you can type it in. Shadowing forces that loop into absolute overdrive.
And the speed at which it operates is mind-blowing. The research notes that during close shadowing, your brain's translation phase and its choice phase can overlap in just 20 to 90 milliseconds.
Which is incredible. A literal blink of an eye takes about 300 milliseconds.
So your brain is quite literally predicting and producing the word before the speaker has even finished the first syllable. You bypass the translation filter entirely.
You remove the middleman of conscious thought. So the practical question is, how do I actually start doing this?
Well, the Pearson-Longman skill sheet outlines 4 specific methods. The first is full shadowing. That is where you try to say absolutely everything you hear.
Which can be brutally difficult for beginners.
Oh, absolutely. So the second method is slash shadowing. You use audio that has built-in pauses to give your brain a literal second to catch its breath.
That is a much better starting point. What is the third?
Keyword or last word shadowing. You just focus on hitting the most important words, or you just echo the very last word of a sentence to stay locked into the rhythm.
And the fourth method is fascinating. It's called about you shadowing.
Right. You hear the speaker say, I went to the store, but you have to instantly change it to, you went to the store.
Changing pronouns on the fly forces your brain to actively process the underlying grammar. It proves you understand what you're saying.
Exactly. Now, for a real-world view, we looked at a self-proclaimed lazy learner from the English-speaking Bestie YouTube channel. She did a 30-day shadowing challenge.
She called it a lazy but highly effective way to learn because you just sit back, hit play, and echo. No flashcards required.
Her takeaway was very realistic. It didn't magically make her a flawless native speaker in a month, but she saw undeniable improvements in her articulation and her conversational flow.
And she shared one golden rule. Only shadow people whose speech you genuinely like.
Such a crucial point. Don't shadow a boring textbook voice. But choosing the right material is where most people fail. The Ultimate Guide to Shadowing Materials notes that you need I+1 difficulty.
Meaning you can understand 80 to 90% of the script. It pushes you slightly, but doesn't overwhelm you.
And the guide outlines 2 stages. The first is prosody-focused. That means mastering the underlying rhythm and melody of speech.
This is for beginners. You must use slower audio. They recommend VOA Learning English, which is spoken at 90 words per minute, or the Kukyoku Aikaiwa app.
Once you nail the prosody, you graduate to content-focused shadowing for advanced practice. Here you use native media like Netflix shows.
Specifically conversational ones like Friends or Suits, using the Language Reactor extension for dual subtitles.
Or TED Talks. They suggest Matt Cutts' 3-minute talk for intermediate learners, or Simon Sinek for advanced learners.
It is funny, we've been talking about this from a language learning perspective, but the Captivate FM Guide to Podcasting shows that native speakers use these exact rhythm techniques too.
Yes, the ultimate audio goal is to sound as natural and engaging as a great podcast host. We looked at a Reddit thread discussing shows with amazing chemistry.
Shows like 3-Bean Salad, Small Town Murder, or This Podcast Will Kill You.
Listeners crave that authentic banter. When you shadow, you are trying to mimic that effortless camaraderie. But the Captivate FM Guide reveals a huge secret.
The illusion of unscripted speech.
Yes. To sound perfectly natural, many hosts actually script their shows. The #1 rule is, write how you would speak.
They use bullet points to allow space to riff, segue phrases to pivot naturally, and strictly scripted intros and outros.
Even native speakers use structures to stay on track. Which brings us to the Love English podcast source. Sounding fluent doesn't mean sounding like a perfect robot.
Embracing imperfection is actually part of fluency.
Using filler words like it's just a simple pause while you gather your thoughts. It is a sign you are sounding like a real human being.
Do not fear the filler words. They give your listener a millisecond to digest what you just said.
So what does this all mean? Let's summarize. Whether you are mastering a foreign language, crushing a presentation, or starting a podcast, fluency isn't about cramming information into your head.
It is about training your brain's phonological loop through small, 5-minute daily habits.
Embrace the snack learning mindset. Find a voice you love, listen actively, and honestly, don't be afraid to talk to yourself.
It undeniably works. But I want to leave the listener with one final lingering question to ponder.
Let's hear it.
If our brains are capable of perceiving and anticipating spoken words with just a 20-millisecond overlap, functioning completely unconsciously to loop perception into action, what other daily habits and behaviors is your brain automatically shadowing without you even realizing it?
Wow, that is a profound thought to end on. We are constantly echoing our environment. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
Keep practicing, keep shadowing, and we will catch you next time.